The views and opinions expressed on the Morning Buzz are not necessarily those of 389 Country Advertisers, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, or Google Podcasts.
But they should be.
This is the Morning Buzz.
Good morning, Buzzers. Your buddy Trav on the radio. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Morning Buzz on Thanksgiving Eve. Did you put your turkey out? I hope you had a great Tuesday, but I hope your Wednesday is even better. And I'm going to do my best to ensure that it at least starts off on the right note, right foot. We go through this every morning, I feel like. Enough about me. On today's show, you can expect the norm. You got chaotic news from around the world, including political chaos. We've got the crazy news story of the day, the BK Concrete Racing report. What else have we got? Well, let's just tell you some of the old stories we're going to be running down today. One story I'm just calling Anything Else, Honey? Stay tuned. I'll tell you all about that. And did you know you're old and out of touch? Well, there's a certain group that's reminding you of that because they say so. And apparently it's all in a name. Just when you think Joe can't get any crazier. But wait, there's more. And like I say, we've got the crazy news story of the day that, if you're going to eat breakfast, you need to do it before 9:30. I'll just go ahead and tell you that. It's a dandy. But you know the drill. We can't do anything until we officially start your day. And to do that, we need help from our old buddy Doug. Doug, the floor is yours, sir.
Wakey, wakey, rise and shine.
Take a deep breath and relax. It's all going to be fine.
Wakey, 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 wakey.
Today is Wednesday. It is the 22nd day of November. Golly, it's almost Christmas, y'all. It's almost Christmas. It is National Tie One On Day. Now, before you start going bottoms up there, that's not what it's talking about. Tie on an apron as you do meal prep for the big day tomorrow. It's also National Jukebox Day, so when you're doing meal prep, turn on the old jukebox or turn on your favorite streaming device and tune in to 389 Country. And it's National Cranberry Relish Day. I guess you're preparing it today while you're listening to the jukebox and wearing your apron. So that's it for today. That's all we've got as far as national and world days. Now, taking a look at this day in history, back in 1986 on this day with a second-round knockout of Trevor Berbick, 20-year-old Mike Tyson became the youngest heavyweight champion in boxing history. 1995, Pixar's Toy Story, the first entirely computer-animated feature-length film, was released and became a critical and commercial hit. Now, I didn't know this when the day started, but Marty apparently did. He's celebrating. We'll get a picture of him up sometime this morning. He's got him a Buzz Lightyear shirt on today. So, Marty, you must have known. He's not paying attention. He's like the rest of y'all. And the big event on this day in history, the most notorious political murder in recent American history, occurred on this day in 1963 when John F. Kennedy, 35th U.S. president, was shot and killed in Dallas, Texas, while riding in an open car. Now, who did it? Well, it depends on who you talk to. RFK thinks the CIA took care of JFK. And that is a look at this day in history. And with that, brings us to our weather, brought to you by North Georgia Sign and Apparel.
I used to get wet. I used to sweat. I used to get caught outside in the rain and snow. But now I'm warm and dry. Please don't fall on me from the sky. 'Cause I get my weather from the radio.
Currently, it's 49 degrees in Hayesville, upper 40s, lower 50s all across the tri-state. Looking at the old map here, a lot of it depends on your elevation. And what you got is pretty much what you got for the day, as high today of 50. So we're right where we're going to be. Intervals of clouds and sunshine. Good weather for holiday travel. Today is the busiest travel day of the year. So if you're traveling in our area, hitting the road, it's going to be a good day for it. For Thanksgiving, expect about 10 more degrees. 60 for the high, milder with intervals of clouds and sunshine. Low tomorrow night of 34. Oh, I forgot, the low tonight, you better get the old fire stoked up. 26 for the low. But as I mentioned there, we'll be warming quickly tomorrow. And taking a peek at Friday, mostly cloudy, high of 61, looks like a low of 35. And that is a look at weather, brought to you as always by our fine friends over at North Georgia Sign and Apparel. And with that, what have we done? Well, we have officially started your day.
At Interstate Welding and Steel Supply, we strive for excellence in all of our products and services. From medical, food, and industrial gases, including propane, to steel, aluminum, and other metal materials, we have everything you need for your business or personal needs. Visit one of our 2 showrooms for welding equipment, truck and trailer supplies, power tools, and so much more. Our professional sales team will help you find exactly what you need. Call our Marble location at 888-613-8284 or our Blue Ridge store at 706-900-1000. Plus, you can always visit us online at interstatewelding.com.
This is the Morning Buzz.
I've really got to talk to management. That's all there is to it. John and Heidi, they get to dive in and talk to Soledad and Rob Reiner. And is that Meathead? No, who am I thinking of? No, isn't that? Wasn't he from All in the Family? This is why I don't get those guests. I don't know. Anyway, that should be an interesting show. John and Heidi always have an interesting show. All right, that's enough nonsense, buzzers. Y'all tune in to hear the greatest country music. And since it's Wednesday, we're going to kick today off with our Wednesday song. Here's the Man in Black. Johnny Cash, A Wednesday Car. That's how we celebrate Wednesdays here. We've got a Monday song, a Wednesday song, and a Friday song. And, well, since it's Wednesday, I thought today would be a good day for the Wednesday song. You know what else it's good for? It's good to fill you in with a little 411 for the 389. And the Israeli government approved a deal with Hamas overnight to temporarily halt fighting for at least 4 days in exchange for the release of roughly 50 Israeli women and children who've been held hostage in Gaza by the militant group. In return, Israel will release roughly 150 Palestinian women and children held in its prisons and will allow around 300 aid trucks per day to enter into Gaza from Egypt. The pause in fighting will be extended by an extra day for every 10 additional hostages released. So Israel gets 50. They give 150 plus 300 aid trucks per day. Yeah, seems fair to me. Binance founder, I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what Binance. Let's just dig into this. Binance founder Xingping Zhao stepped down as the company's CEO yesterday. Oh, yeah, I didn't know about this. And pleaded guilty to violating anti-money laundering requirements as part of a broad settlement with U.S. Justice Department. The world's largest cryptocurrency exchange is also required to pay $4.3 billion in fines. All right, that should fund the government for, I don't know, a couple of hours. And as we have talked about, today marks the 60th anniversary of President John F. Kennedy's assassination as his motorcade passed through Dealey Plaza in Dallas, Texas. And that is somewhat of a look at the 411 for the 389. I don't know if it was the song or the Coca-Cola I'm having at 7:20 in the morning, but I was doing a little chair dancing there. Montgomery Gentry, Hillbilly Shoes. Maybe you're doing a little dancing as you're getting ready to head out to the office, to the job site, to the store. Probably not a school anywhere, but it may be. But no matter what the case may be, at some point today, dear friends, you're going to find yourself in the presence of those who make it abundantly clear to you that they need to be educated on the ways of this world. And when that moment happens, dear friends, I want you to look them dead in the eye and say, losers, I bet I'm smarter than you, and I could prove it. And then hit them with this. I think that makes 2 days in a row I've karate chopped the microphone during the introduction. Did you know the United States Navy used Xbox controllers for their periscopes? It's true. It's true. In 2018, the U.S. Navy equipped its submarines with Xbox 360 controllers. The control sticks for periscopes are both expensive and difficult to master. So the U.S. Navy began to install Xbox 360 controllers as they were much cheaper. And it's not all about cost, though. As many periscopes operators have used Xbox controllers in the past, they can easily transfer their skills. I saw one video, a documentary, where the drones, I think they were like PlayStation controllers. Not like the drones like we have. I'm talking about the spy drones and bombing drones and all such as. If you know, you know. And then after you have left them wowed, nay, slack-jawed with your superior knowledge, I want you to hit them with the old 1-2 punch. Look at them again and say, not only am I smarter than you losers, I am funnier too. And then drop this little nugget on them. The visiting church school, how many times I have to tell you to wait? This is why you don't have a microphone anymore. I digress. The visiting church school supervisor asked little Johnny during Bible class who broke down the walls of Jericho. Little Johnny replies, he didn't know, but it definitely wasn't him. So the supervisor, taken back by this lack of basic Bible knowledge, goes to the school principal and relates the whole incident. The principal replies that he knows little Johnny as well as his whole family very well and can vouch for them. And if little Johnny said he did not do it, then as principal, he is satisfied that that is the truth. Now, even more appalled, the inspector goes to the regional head of education and relays the whole story. After listening to the story, he replies, I can't see why you're making such a big issue out of this. Just get 3 quotes and have the darn wall fixed. Randy Travis, Deeper Than the Holler. Well, every week we pay a little homage to those who may have lost a pet over the past 7 days, and this is where it lands. People ask me all the time, what's the name of that song? It's Sam, and it's Sturgill Simpson. Welcome back, Buzzers. Your buddy Trav here with you. It's time for sports, and sports is high school basketball. That's what sports is. Now it is. As the season got underway last night over in the Hive, good crowd turned out on a Tuesday night for opening night, and it was good to see some people I haven't seen since last basketball season. But Hiwassee Dam came into the Hive last night. No JV girls game. The JV boys got things rolling in a big way as they dominate Hiwassee Dam with a 61-21 win. The third quarter in that game, for some reason, it took 30 minutes. There was a lot of fouls. Then the varsity Lady Yellow Jackets, it was a heck of a game between them and the Lady Eagles, and the Lady Jackets lose a heartbreaker, 53-51. Had a chance there at the end to at least tie it, send it to overtime, but it wasn't in the cards. And then in the varsity boys game, it was another good one. As a matter of fact, at the half, it was 24-24. The Jackets were tied with the Eagles, but the Yellow Jackets held on, and they were strong late in the game. 61-55 win over Hiwassee Dam. Coach Cottrell afterwards told me, that was a gutsy, scrappy win. He said, it wasn't always pretty, but we figured out a way to make it work. So congratulations, Coach Cottrell, too. That was win number 600 for him in his career. Now, something you might not know, I was around for his early wins. I won't tell you how, but I was. But 2 wins and 1 heartbreaking loss. Strong way to start the season. Like I say, it was a great crowd there, especially for a Tuesday night. It looked like a Friday night crowd. Now they'll take a break until Monday when Blue Ridge comes into the Hive. Varsity only for those. We'll talk about that more on Monday. But that's a look at sports brought to you, as always, by the fine folks at the Clay County Recreation Center. Kenny Chesney this morning, baby, you saved me. Guess what time it is? Well, if you don't know, let me give you a hint. It's Bozo News time. Today's story comes from Michigan. All right. Detroit, Michigan, or Detroit, depending on where you're from. Now, listen, this guy had multiple chances. All right, so it seems one Mr. Sheffy McFly, what a name, or maybe it's Sheefy. I guess it's Sheefy. Anyway, 29, well, he's a well-known graffiti artist in Detroit, and he was commissioned by the city to paint a mural on the city's northeast side. Now, he was hard at work, spray can in hand there, and the cops rolled by and saw. So, cops did what cops do. They stopped. And he tried to explain the situation to the cops, but he couldn't produce his city-issued permit for the job. I'm doing it for the city. Can you show us your permit? I can't find it. Well, apparently he's not very responsible. Situation gets worse because the cops, first of all, they wouldn't budge. They're like, no, you don't have a permit. We're on this. But it got worse for Mr. McFly when the cops ran his ID and found there was a warrant out for him on unpaid parking tickets. Before all was said and done, 7 police cars were on the scene. Why 7? There's your tax dollars hard at work. And our artist was arrested on suspicion of resisting and obstructing and on a warrant for an old parking ticket. He was held for 24 hours before the situation was sorted out and was released. He is, however, still scheduled to appear in court to take care of the ticket. Now, what is suspicion of resisting and obstructing? I'm taking you in. Why? I've got a sneaking suspicion that you may resist. Well, how am I resisting? I got a suspicion. Kip Moore there. Hey, pretty girl. So I was in the Hive last night, and I was talking about the good crowd, right? We spoke on this. And it was great to see such a good crowd on a Tuesday night. However, I need to address something, Jacket Nation. I love you all. Glad you support the Yellow Jackets. We're all in it together, right? However, so usually I'm either on the floor. Last year I was actually at the desk doing the announcing and the music and everything. But this year we have a new opportunity. Stay tuned. I'll tell you more about that. But so I was up top and had a video camera. I've said too much. Anyway, and so I'm never usually up in the crowd, so I don't pay attention. But some of y'all need to find a seat and sit down. I mean, I swear there's some people that they just come just to walk back and forth from the concession stand to a seat, to the bathroom, to the seat, to the concession stand, get somewhere, you know? I know. I was talking with a friend about it yesterday, and I said, I'm that grumpy old man, but seriously, you go to a game, sit down and watch the game. Yeah, find there's plenty of good seating. Now, I know it gets crowded in the Hive, but that's the way it is in Hayesville. Hayesville is a basketball town, and if the Jackets are playing, it's going to be pretty full. So I mean, find your seat, sit down, and again, I love you, but why so many trips to concession stand? Just get it in one fell swoop. I'm proud you're supporting the team and, with your finances, but let's get somewhere. Just constantly back and forth. It was, I don't know. I don't know what it was like. I guess it was like church when people just constantly moving around. And I would think, all right, well, this JV game, so people are still coming in and they're settling. And then the girls' game started. Well, some of the JV people are leaving and some of the girls' fans are late. And it was constant. I mean, fourth quarter of the boys' game, we're still both directions. I kept seeing a lot of the same people. Quit trotting. That's what my dad used to yell at me. Quit trotting. But anyway, there you go. I had to address a little something there, and I apologize if I've offended anyone, but if you're offended, I'm probably talking to you. So Monday, sit down. Morgan Evans there. I had a buzzer reach out to me and said there's nothing wrong with 20 trips to the concession stand. I'll let him know you're part of the problem, man. To each his own. Y'all were probably thinking, I wish this guy would sit down somewhere. He's standing right here with this stupid camera. I love you all. Let's take a look at this day in country music. Back in 1982, filmed in and around Memphis, Johnny Cash's 1982 Christmas TV special, A Merry Memphis Christmas, was recorded. The show included guest appearances by June Carter Cash, Roseanne Cash, Crystal Gale, Eddie Rabbit, the gospel group Mighty Clouds of Joy, and Jack Clements. In 1989, on this day, Alabama released Southern Star. Go ahead and sing it. Oh, Southern Star. He's really singing too much these days, Martha. What channel is that trash man on? 1999, Toby Keith released How Do You Like Me Now in 2008. I'm going to start saying things like that. Tim McGraw made his first appearance on the American late night live television sketch comedy show Saturday Night Live. And in 2012, Taylor Swift was at number 1 on the U.S. country chart with her 4th studio album, Red. And this little number was on that. So here's a little Taylor Swift with 22. I played that as we should have seen what was coming when that album come out. You know, I don't know that this is really country music. Well, I can promise you something else. This is. Don't forget, Harper joins the team. Well, she's already on the team, but she goes official on the air next Saturday, December the 2nd. We're excited to have her. Let's see what we got coming up. Oh, it's almost time for political chaos. And as you can imagine, there's plenty, just like always. See what I can see here. Oh, you know, climate change is going to kill us all. Apparently not. If you want to know the truth, follow the money. I'll tell you all about that coming up. Also, the Army, they're wanting to get back together with some people. I'll tell you about that. And just who is killing us with climate change. You will be shocked, I promise you. And apparently crazy runs in the name Joe. What am I talking about? Stay tuned. I'll tell you all about it. Go ahead, text a friend. Tell him to tune in because we still have 2 hours to go. I'll be back in 3 minutes. While you listen to this commercial, go grab you another cup of coffee. Sit down for a while. Let's just be friends. Thanks for listening to 389 Country. Welcome back, Buzzers. Your buddy Trav sitting here at the microphone once again on Wednesday. Happy Thanksgiving Eve to you. If you're getting ready to hit the road, please be careful. I would like to have you back here tomorrow morning. Speaking of tomorrow morning, yep, I'll be here. So tune in as you are brining that turkey or whatever it is you do. I guess you need to brine it today. I don't know. I'm not cooking a turkey, so don't really know. But anyway, I'll be here to guide you through the morning tomorrow. Never a day off with this bunch. Yeah, I'll be here. Happy to. I'm glad they don't listen. Coming up in this hour, political chaos from around the world, including the Army, Bill Gates, another crazy Joe, and global warming. But like we do every day in hour 2, we begin by connecting with Jesus because you know we need to talk to Jesus before we talk politics. And today's 389 Country Gospel Spotlight lands. Oh, we're going grassy today. It's the Dale McCurry Band. Dialing up our first political story. I need to rename this. It's not always politics. Maybe, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Social? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Pennsylvania school district to pay $200,000 in a settlement with the Satanic Temple for discrimination lawsuit. Is this not the stupidest time to be alive? Y'all, this is just the state of our world. This from the New York Post. School district to fork out $200,000 to settle a Satanic Temple lawsuit and allow after-school Satan Club events. Yep, the Satanic Temple, whose after-school Satan Club's motto is educating with Satan. Y'all. They just won a settlement of $200,000 from the Socon Valley School District in Pennsylvania. The ACLU assisted the Satanic Temple in their filing a free speech lawsuit against the district for previously banning the club. Now the club is back with more Satanism for the kiddos. The lawsuit was filed with help from the ACLU, which called Thursday's settlement a victory for free speech and religious liberty. The district, about 60 miles north of Philadelphia, had initially agreed to allow school facilities to be used for after-school Satan Club, whose motto is educating with Satan. It was accused of discrimination earlier this year when it withdrew its permission. So here's what this bunch does, this satanic after-school program. They target schools like this and say, we're going in, and then if the school says, no, you're not, then they sue, just like this, discrimination, and in order to settle, to come out on the cheap end, school districts settle, and so they just go around suing people to make money. That's how they make money. Now, you can say, oh, they're wanting to brainwash the kids with Satanism. All right, maybe. But it's nothing more than a scheme. It's a money scheme. Let's go sue. We'll tell them, I'll tell you what, we'll settle for $200,000, $250,000, somewhere in there, and it'll all go away. And now, how long do you think that now they can actually be in this school system after school? How long do you think that they will actually be there? So after school Satan Club is okay. So I guess we can all get to work on after school Christ Club, and that'd be all right with everybody, right? Sure. It would probably win in the courts too, since we do have that nice little thing called freedom of speech, right? But I bet there'd be a lot more outcry against Christ Club than there was for Satan Club. Have y'all heard about it anywhere? No, just here? Yeah. Let's see here from the story. Despite its name, the Satanic Temple actually has nothing to do with fire and brimstone or worshiping the devil. Rather, it claims to utilize satanic imagery in a subversive and at times satirical manner to advocate for equal representation and highlight examples of religious hypocrisy in which it sees Christianity being endorsed or promoted by schools or other public institutions over other belief systems. We hit on this yesterday. Seems like when the Christian beliefs was endorsed by public schools, seems like the kids behaved better. I'm sure it's just a coincidence. Is there anything better than Diamond Rio? I mean, really? Hey, have you ever broken up with someone and then, a couple of years later, you realize, wow, I've really messed up, and maybe you reach back out to them and, hey, look, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Can we just get back together? I'm sorry, it's all my fault. Well, that's what the Army is doing. Army sends letter to troops who were discharged for refusing the vax, says they can correct the discharge and come back to the military. This CNN headline is from just over 6 weeks ago. Only 43 of more than 8,000 discharged from the U.S. military for refusing COVID vaccine have rejoined. So 8,000 were thrown out of the military, right? 8,000 because they wouldn't take the jab. And now that it's common knowledge now, hey, that vaccine's really not everything that we pushed, and COVID's really not everything we pushed. So, hey, come on back. We know that we threw you out, and, your whole career, we ruined everything you had worked for, threw you out because you wouldn't take this shot. But listen, we know now. And so you can come back and we'll correct the discharge. We'll take that off your record. Would you go back? The military mandated the vaccine for 15 months from August 2021 through January of 2023. Wow, they were still doing it this year? When it was rescinded by law as part of the National Defense Authorization Act. It marked perhaps the first time in U.S. military history that a vaccine requirement was reversed. But since the repeal, only 19 soldiers have rejoined the Army, while 12 have returned to the Marines, according to service spokespeople. The numbers are even smaller for the Air Force and Navy, where only 1 and 2 have rejoined, respectively. Now, this is what happens when you bring politics disguised as science into the military. And y'all wonder why recruitment's so low. You've got this stuff going on. Then you've got the all-inclusive stuff. Hey, have you noticed something? So, the military were running we love everybody, trans promotion soldiers, right? Well, now that things have kicked off in the Middle East and China's out there lurking, have you noticed the recent military commercials? It's back to being the muscle guys jumping out of planes and jumping over things and crawling through sand and firing RPGs or whatever. There's no more of Donnie in a dress out there. They're trying to drive up numbers. Recruiting is down. Why would you want to? Here's what they do. You serve them and you give them years of your life, and because you won't take an experimental drug, yeah, it was experimental. So don't start with no, it was safe. It was experimental. If it was safe, why did so many people have complications or death from it? Now those stories people are actually reading them as legitimate, whereas those of us who've been saying it for 3 years, crazy conspiracy theorists. But I wouldn't go back, would you? Again, think about this if it's a relationship. If your boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever, treated you like that, tried to force something on you, and you left, would you go back? And, well, if you did, that's just the storyline for a good country song, right? All right, let's dial up some more political chaos. Good news! Global warming is over, apparently. Yep, we defeated it. Hooray! We beat it! I mean climate change. Because, if you go with global warming, then when it gets cold, that doesn't work. And, you can't go with global cooling because then when it's hot, that doesn't work. But if you go with climate change, you can just switch however you need to. Anyway, how do I know it's over? Well, CNBC has dismantled its climate desk amid layoffs and will no longer have a dedicated team to cover our impending doom. So, CNBC's going through budget cuts. I wonder why. Meaning they have to decide which news divisions are the most important and which they can cut. The 24-hour news network has decided that it's going to be dismantling its climate desk, which was the company's full-time team for covering climate doom. So I guess either climate change was solved or they decided it's not actually the most important crisis of our lifetime anymore. Now, let me just point something out. If they really believed that climate change was the be-all, end-all of humanity, do you think they would shut this down? No. I mean, if this was really our main focus and our main problem, that would be like the last team to be fired, right? But at CNBC, they just had to make the tough choice to stop covering fake climate news and focus on other fake news, right? In reply to this news, it's filled with nothing but sarcastic derision, including one joke. This is not from the story. This is a joke I really wish I'd thought of. This from Tweedo Bandito. They should move them to the Sasquatch desk. It's more believable. Well, the Sasquatch desk is still there. But yeah, global warming, climate change is finished. Everybody celebrate tomorrow at Thanksgiving, especially if you're going to the home or some of your family would be, fall into the climate cult when you're going around giving thanks. I want to give thanks that climate change is officially over per CNBC. I feel like it's my duty to point out. Who said duty? To point out things to you. Again, that's the whole point of hour number 2, is not to tell you how to feel, how to believe, how to vote, anything like that. It's just to try to open your eyes as to the truth of what's really going on. For how many decades now has Bill Gates been leading the charge, him and Al Gore, against climate change, right? Martha, he's really preaching hard against this climate change today. Where is that trash man? But anyway, some of you are like, why does he keep talking about the trash man? If you know, you know. So Bill Gates, he's been telling us, climate change is going to kill us all, right, for decades now. Well, old Billy has changed his tune. Here's his latest quote. This from Fortune magazine, which is definitely a right-wing rag. There's a lot of climate exaggeration, said Gates, who founded Microsoft and is now a philanthropist. The climate is not the end of the planet, so the planet is going to be fine. The world will be able to meet its agreed-upon goal to limit future warming to 1.5 degrees. Or the world will not be able to meet its agreed-upon goal to limit future warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial temperatures, but it won't hit the 3 degrees Celsius mark either, said Gates. All right, so there's a lot to this story. Again, I've already talked about it. For decades now, he's been telling us we're all going to burn up and die, and now he's like, nah, it ain't going to happen. We're not, listen, these goals we set out, we're not going to hit that, but it's going to be fine. Well, then, if it's going to be fine, why are we all in a tizzy? Oh, we got to go electric cars. Oh, we got to go wind and solar and everything. Why now you just all of a sudden, nah, it's fine. Nah, we're not going to hit them goals, but it'll be fine. And here's something else. After that little quote I read, Fortune magazine said Gates, who is not a climate scientist. Now, again, for decades, they've been using this guy and quoting this guy to promote climate change and spread that fear, right? And now, we just want to remind you, he's saying these crazy things. He's not a climate scientist. This guy works on computers. That's just some computer nerd. Why should we listen to him? Meanwhile, for the last 20 years, I've been wondering, why are we listening to the computer nerd about the climate? How did he become qualified for that? Well, now he's the expert in vaccines, so he's not worried about the climate anymore. His attention has been turned to buying up farmland and introducing new vaccines. Hooray. Well, in case you missed the Morning Joe yesterday, which I'm sure you did because you were tuned in to the Morning Buzz, this crackpot proved that apparently crazy runs in the name Joe. So here's Trump derangement syndrome, Well, actually, this is a whole different level. You have this Trump derangement syndrome where seemingly normal people completely lose all touch of reality because Orange Man bad. And then you've got whatever this is. Joe Scarborough yesterday, I don't know the two people who watch his show, but it's real funny. I bet he has a bigger audience than you. Probably, but I'm not on a national or international television station. So is that really something worth bragging about? All right. So anyway, what did he say? He goes on talking about Trump. He said, he's not a normal candidate. He is running to end the American democracy as we know it. First of all, stop right there. We are not a democracy. We are a republic. Two totally different things. And they keep saying this democracy. January 6th, our democracy was under attack. Anytime they're talking about the election, we need to defend our democracy. Let me say this directly into this microphone. We are not a democracy. Now, moving forward, he goes on. He is an authoritarian. He led an insurrection against the United States government. All right, let's stop right there. First of all, it was not an insurrection. Nobody had weapons. No, the only shots fired were at the protesters, right? Number two, if you look at this new footage that has been released of the January 6th riots, doors were literally unlocked for them by Capitol Police. Capitol Police stood in the halls, waving to them, showing them around, taking them places. There's video of Capitol Police uncuffing handcuffed people and giving them a fist bump. So if that was an insurrection, then you've got to arrest all of those Capitol Police cops that were just standing by, because obviously they were an accessory to the crime. So let's get that police force in there, okay? Second, Trump was telling them, don't do this. Leave. He was on Twitter, burning Twitter up. Don't do this. Even when he was speaking, he said, we're going to go down. If you're going to go down, protest, do it peacefully, do it honorably, don't get violent, right? So he was telling them not to go do what they were then accused of doing, even though they weren't violent. Oh, there was violent. There was tear gas and stuff outside. And now there's more stuff coming out about, here's a video of two undercover FBI agents that were stirring stuff up. How do we know that they're undercover FBI agents? Because there's another video of them videoing themselves before they get over there. Now, why? And I may be chasing a rabbit. Why are they calling it an insurrection? Because that's the only thing, if they can find him guilty of, that's the only thing out of these 90 or whatever counts that they've thrown against Trump that would disqualify him from running for president. That's why they're using the terminology insurrection. The acts does not meet the definition of an insurrection. There's never been an insurrection that people were fighting with flagpoles. And if you could take down the country and overtake the government with flagpoles, we got bigger problems than the guy in buffalo horns. He went on. This is what he said next about how to fairly frame Donald Trump in the media. He said, if you want to be fair, then you will frame this as Joe Biden being the candidate that supports American democracy and Donald Trump, a candidate who supports a new form of government here that's authoritarian. How? If he was, they keep saying, he's going to go in there and he won't leave. He left the first time. What? He will get away with, he will imprison, he will execute whoever he's allowed to imprison, execute, drive from the country. Just look at his past. It's not really hard to read. So they're afraid that he's going to go after and imprison his political opponents. Hello, pot. Meat kettle, Well, this from The Hill. The richest 1% of the world's population generates as much carbon emissions as the world's poorest 2/3, according to a new report. So, all right. So all of these elite that have been, bombarding us, telling us to get rid of your minivan and, they're still out here trying to push all of us lower middle class to drive EVs, avoid air travel, eat fake meat, eat bugs, and generally, be less human. I think maybe it's time we start pushing these ideologies on the rich and allowing us poor folks to live however we'd like instead of the other way around. But no, that top 1% that is the ones that's killing the planet, they're going to fly around on their private jets and have their motorcades and stuff, and while they're coming to lecture us on what we need to do to change our life if we really love humanity. Hello, pot, meat kettle. Had a little requested music there. That's going to do it for hour number 2, but don't you fret. We still have a full hour to go, full of chaotic news from around the world. Your crazy news story of the day, by the way, if you're going to eat, go ahead and do it now. And what else we got? The BK Concrete Connection Racing Report and more of your favorite country music songs. Let's just look in here. Chick-fil-A, lawnmowers, leggings, flies, and steaks. What a busy hour it's going to be. Welcome back, Buzzers. Your buddy Trav here. We have an action-packed hour, so we got to jump into it, and we do so with today's 90s at 9. Today, our special 90, which we play 90s all the time, but we kick off the 9 o'clock hour with a 90s song. This one from Little Texas. Well, Gen Z, they think that they can just do anything, but ladies, what if I told you now they're coming for you? More specifically, they're coming for your leggings. That's right. And I know y'all, that is a hill you will die on. Open the dresser drawer of any millennial woman and you're almost sure to find a black bundle of the soft and stretchy all-purpose pants substitute. Call them the unofficial uniform of those born between 1981 and 1996, particularly during their teenage years. No, particularly now. Look, when it turns September the 1st, you ladies, you find you a flannel shirt and black leggings, and that's your outfit until April. Paired with anything from going out top and chunky jewelry for dinner or a hoodie to run to the store, and of course Uggs. Leggings were whatever you wanted them to be, but now, ladies, they are canceled. Gen Z style gurus have once again ganged up on the rest of the world, decreeing those roll-on thigh huggers just one more outdated thing. Fortunately, aging fashionistas, our benevolent dictators, have something new all picked out that they're sure you're going to love. Yoga pants. Now, that's what millennials call them anyway. To Gen Z, they're flared leggings. I'm looking at them, and obviously, guy here, they look the same as, I guess they do have kind of a bell-bottom look. So, if you go out in your leggings today, ladies, just know that Gen Z is judging you, and outcome not so good. But what do we say the older we get? Who cares? Look at how they look. I mean, Gen Z brought back the mullet. Well, a New Hampshire man who lived in an unfurnished mobile home and drove a lawnmower around his small town, he died a secret multi-millionaire, and he left his fortune to the tight-knit community. Jeffrey Holt, who died in June at the age of 82, was known as the caretaker of a Hinsdale mobile home park where he lived in a unit with no computer, no TV, a bed with legs that went through the floor. Holt rarely left the town of 4,200 people on the Vermont and Massachusetts border and did not have a car. He was often seen riding his mower to the local convenience store clad in threadbare clothes. Edwin Smokey Smith, Holt's best friend and former employer and a former Republican state lawmaker, learned shortly before his death that the divorced and childless man had made investments that paid off in a big way to the tune of $3.8 million. He seemed to have what he wanted, but he didn't want much, he said. Smith suggested that Holt think of the community, but never expected him to will the entire lump sum of its coffers to its coffers, with the instructions that it be spent on education, health, recreation, and culture. So what does that tell us? That tells us you can't judge a book by its cover, right? Because, I mean, this dude, everybody, he lives in that old single-wide trailer. The leg from the beds fell plumb through the floor, and drives that old lawnmower around town. Gosh, he could do better than that if he'd try. He just needs to try. You know, I used to be like that, and then I decided to try. I ain't got no sympathy for him whatsoever. I mean, all he needed to do, try a little. Ain't no way. He's happy living like that. Hey, did you hear about Billy Bob? He died, and he had $3.8 million. Oh, we were so close. We were so close. You know, I'd always told him, Billy Bob, you be happy. Don't try to please other people. You just be happy. You know, that's how it went. You know, people were like, oh, man, I should have been nicer to that guy. Well, be nice to people now. And don't do it for money, right? There's a picture of him. This looks like a happy guy. So, good for him. He lived the life he wanted to live. Yes, chickens can fly, and if Chick-fil-A has their way, even the dead ones will be able to. Just imagine that you find yourself at home with either, you don't have transportation, or you don't really want to get out, but you get the craving for some of God's chicken. Well, now, if you live within 1.2 miles of this Florida Chick-fil-A, you can actually have your sandwich delivered from the heavens above. Chick-fil-A in Florida now offering a drone delivery service. That's right. The future is here, and I'm getting hungry. If you're not craving chicken filet with a pickle on it. I don't know about you. Diners within a 1.2-mile radius of Brandon Valerico Chick-fil-A in Central Florida will now have the option to have their spicy chicken sandwiches and milkshakes delivered via drone for a limited time. I'm sure this is just a test run. Drone delivery is available between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, the restaurant announced on its social media last week. The fast food joint said it hopes to expand to a 2-mile radius in the near future. The restaurant partnered with Drone Up, a Virginia-based tech company that also launched a drone delivery service with a Tampa Walmart last year. A popular fried chicken chain declined to share where drone delivery would be introduced next. I got a great suggestion for the next drone delivery. My place. This is pretty cool though. So look how fast things are progressing. It wasn't that long ago, 3 years ago, where having people deliver food to your door that didn't even work for the deliver or for the restaurant, that was unheard of. And now that's here, and now we're already moving forward. Wow, we don't need those people. We got drones to drop off the Lord's chicken. I wonder what happens, though, if your drone's attacked by an eagle or something. You get a refund? Or if your neighbor shoots it down? Listen, I love my community, but there's a couple in the hood that may blast that thing down. You know what I mean? That's the government spying again. Get my gun. Time now for the crazy news story of the day. And, y'all, prepare yourself. A man in Missouri has left doctors scratching their heads after they found a live fly buzzing around deep inside his intestines. The 63-year-old patient had come in for a routine colon cancer screening this year, known as a colonoscopy. The procedure was going as normal as could be until doctors reached the transverse colon, the area at the top of the large intestines, where they found a fully intact fly. Doctors say it was a mystery as to how the insect got there, but it could be due to contaminated lettuce the man ate the day before his appointment. Y'all, there's a picture. As a fly buzzes around. The patient was questioned after the discovery, but confessed he had no idea how the insect got into his body. He did not feel any symptoms. He told doctors he had only consumed clear liquids the day before his colonoscopy, as is required to clear the intestinal tract. The evening before his 24-hour fast, he had consumed a pizza and lettuce, but said he did not recall a fly being in his food. Here you go. In rare cases, flies have laid eggs in fruits and vegetables that have then survived the stomach acid and hatched in the intestines. Y'all, flies and their larvae can infest the human intestines in a condition medically termed intestinal myiasis. Yeah, myiasis too. This happens when someone consumes food containing fly eggs and larvae. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says some infested patients do not suffer any symptoms, but others have abdominal pain, vomiting, and the trots. They didn't say that. I said that part. They used another word. It was not clear what food the man may have eaten that was infested with fly maggots, but previously this has been linked to rotten bananas. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. And that is today's crazy news story of the day. You are welcome. I love y'all too. Libras, memory I don't mess with. Well, a waitress was left stunned and shorted. I don't know what that was. After receiving a nasty note from a female patron who accused her of flirting with her husband. The anonymous server, who said she worked at a restaurant in the South, you see where this is going, took to Reddit to share a snap of the rude message, which was scrawled onto a check. The photo shows that the woman's bill totaled $36.72. Hey, two people ate for under $40. That's pretty good if you ask me. I don't know what the establishment was, but I'm going to say it was some kind of diner, because rather than add a gratuity, the peeved patron pinned a warning to the waitress which read, "Don't call my husband sweetheart." Now, she works in the South. She's calling this fella sweetheart. You know it was a diner or a Huddle House or something like that. And what for you, sweetheart? Now, what does this tell you? This had to be this woman's first time being in the South, right? I mean, we go to places and it's sweetheart and honey, can I get you anything else? Darling, do you need anything? How was everything? You know, it's like, now, there has been a couple of times where my wife and I have been out and, the waitress is just, it was a little more. And that's not me. The wife was the one pointing it out. So, well, one time it was just made me feel like I was dumb. We won't get into it. But anyway, yeah. I mean, if you go to a restaurant in the South and the waitress calls your husband sweetheart, honey, darling, sugar, shug, any version of that, it's fine. It's just, you could say it's the song of the South. Now, y'all have heard me get fired up over topics before. It's pretty regular in hour 2, but not so much in hour 3. But I may absolutely lose it on this one. Okay? Why? Well, a scientist says it's best to pop a steak directly into the lazy chef's preferred household appliance, a microwave. Yep, this idiot. It's always a good idea to heat the meat first in a microwave, explained physicist George Vekinis. Why we listen to him? He's a physicist. He's not a butcher or a smoker or a griller. Nope, physicist. When you cook it directly from the fridge, essentially what you're doing is not heating up the meat from the inside. He says, let's see, physics in the kitchen as a wowing window into the world. All right, what's his name? Was it George? George, let me go ahead and tell you something. People that really know how to cook steaks know, you don't take it from the fridge and straight to the heat. You let that baby set. You let it get close to room temperature there. You let it sweat. You pat it down. He also discouraged people from salting the cut prior to frying it, telling podcast listeners salt has this osmotic ability to drag out as much water as possible from the meat, and you're going to get it tough and inedible. Salt must never be put on steak before frying. I don't think this guy's ever had a steak, and if he has, he's never had a good one. He does, obviously. Listen, it's not very often that you'll find me locking horns against physicist and claiming he's wrong. But y'all, he's wrong on all of this. All of this. No way am I going to go get a nice steak, throw it in the microwave for a couple of minutes. Then he says to throw it in a hot frying pan, 30 seconds on each side, and then you're done. Talk about zap it. Think about this. Don't put salt on it. It'll take the moisture out. What does a microwave do? You can take, seriously, literally, you can take a wet sponge, put it in the microwave. What happens? It comes out dry. Why? It zaps the moisture out. So don't put salt on your steak. That'll ruin it. It'll make it tough. Throw it in the old magneto machine. Yeah, you're an idiot, sir. Again, I don't always say this to physicists, but when I do, it's because I know I'm right. George Vekinis, you, sir, are an idiot. Now, to someone who's not an idiot, the person who wrote in on 389country.com to request this one. They said, I can't remember the name, but Monday you played Lainey Wilson's latest, and I really enjoyed it. Can you play it again? Answer, yes. By the way, that's Wildflowers and Wild Horses. That's a great, great song. So, I got some news for you. Earth has received a message from 10 million miles away, but it wasn't E.T., The National Aeronautics and Space Administration has managed to beam a laser from the vast reaches of space to Southern California. Yep, we texted ourselves, basically. The photon was emitted from NASA's unmanned Psyche spacecraft, which launched in October and is on a larger mission to explore a metal-filled comet between Mars and Jupiter in the asteroid belt in 2028. Again, we can see this comet, and we know that it's full of metal. The other day, we talked about a planet they found 200 million light years away, supposedly, and that it rained sand. They knew that. One of these days, maybe an alien's going to land and laugh at them and be like, nah, it doesn't rain sand. There's not even a planet there. It's pretty much us and y'all. A little Bocephus to end things. That's going to do it for the old Travanator. By the way, we got a picture of Marty up. He's, you can see his little Buzz Lightyear shirt. He's ready for Thanksgiving. I don't think he's preparing for it, but it looks like he's ready. You can check that out on our Facebook page. That's going to do it for the old Travanator. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Yep, Thanksgiving morning. I'll be here for you because I love you. Don't forget to keep a check on 389country.com for news you can use. Always new, always free. Keep us on as the soundtrack to your day. Josh David coming up. If you're a Megan Maroney fan, you're going to be pleased after the top of the hour. Until tomorrow, remember, as always, wrestling's real, politicians are fake. I hope you guys have a great Wednesday. If you are traveling, please be safe and join me back tomorrow morning. See ya.
This is The Morning Buzz.
You are listening to 389 Country Internet Radio.